Okay, here we are with the good, cool face of the English design. They are Heather Barber and Jay Osgerby. And we've been together. I mean, I've seen their work for a long time. We started designing for Capellini almost at the same time, and I've always seen their work, and I've always been interested to their work because it's so, in a way, low profile. It's so gentle. It's so educated in a way, you know. And very different from Jasper work in a way, because Jasper. It's too much sometimes, you know what I mean? It's like, but they have this glam added, and Stella McCartney of course noticed it, and Levi's of course noticed it, and everything goes back probably to the Portsmouth bench, right? I mean, everything goes back there.
Well, that's a pretty simple piece, that one. Yeah, that was about nearly 10 years ago we did that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of a launch, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first piece we ever designed was in fact it was a plywood table called the loop table.
Yeah, and that won many
prizes. That was the first. Yeah, and that's when Giulio saw it, put it in the collection. That was our first piece, and it was like a big success. Completely big surprise to us. We thought it's just a simple thing, but that kind of launched us into the sort of
probably today. In fact, I must say, I agree with you, it looks a very simple piece, especially with these kind of things that are surrounding us. But at that time, I believe that objects must be put in time, must be really located in when they were created. And at that time, the kind of look was very strong, right? I mean, that's why it's at the V&A, right? In the permanent collection of V&A.
But I think actually, coming from that into this, I think talking about things being right for the time, I think we sort of saw this installation and these pieces and in some way talk about this period of reflection. So we've all had a difficult period of sort of recession, which I think causes two things: reflection and innovation. And so we've sort of tried to create something here which is really, really sort of soft, contemplative space, which is sort of an intelligent answer to something, and hopefully you'll see in the archetypes and things that we've designed here, they are, as you say before, quite quiet apart from that.
No, they're very. I mean, I really like your approach. I mean, for example, I am understanding through these interviews that where you have studied, it really counts a lot on the evolution of your work.
It's the trajectory. It's like the ignition point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, you graduated at the Royal College, and you met there, right?
Yeah. We were studying architecture there, not design.
Architecture there, not design.
Yeah.
And how was the evolution? I mean, for example, I read in an interview that you were kind of moved as well by your experience at the Erasmus in Paris.
Yeah.
Because in Paris you found out... I'm very prepared, right? And because they gave you the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Because in England everything is very much about...
When I was doing my undergraduate studies, it's very professional. It's taught in a very professional manner in London. So you really, we learn a lot about the process, the protocol of design as a profession. And then, as you say, I did this stage or Erasmus exchange at Les Ateliers, and it was at the time when everything was about France, Paris, and Stark. And immediately it showed me this concept world, and concept isn't a word that really came into design in the UK. It was very much the sort of progression of process.
At the time you had Nigel Coates, which was very, very interesting stuff. You had Tom that already had started, Tom Dixon. So it's not that really they were not doing these kind of things, but they were called the barbarians. They were called the crazy guys.
It was totally different. Totally. And an education at that, in terms of learning as a student at that time, it was very much about the business of design. And that it still is to a point that way, but going to France for me opened my eyes to this kind of the concept, and as you put it, the flip side of design. And I think it made me just think about things in a different way. And that's why I didn't go on to do furniture at the Royal College or industrial design and architecture.
I think also, as I said, we studied architecture, and that's come through, I think, very clearly in a lot of our furniture projects. I mean, in fact, even the loop table I was talking about, a lot of people think it looks like a sort of modernist villa, sitting on Galotti and having this cantilevered form over the side. And I think also when you look at some of these pieces, they're very, very sort of...
spacious.
Very clear and spacious. A lot of our projects have this sort of defines a space. There's always a hole through, like the loop table, like this piece, like
what about the battle table?
The bottle table.
That's
no, you know why? Because always, as soon as I saw the battle table for Capellini, I said, I never checked in the interviews that you gave, but you definitely should have said Mangiarotti, you know, chapeau. And actually, you know, the Tangelo Mangiarotti, you know his work, of course. You know, the aero system on his table. Mangiarotti has got a work which is kind of similar to your approach, you know. Very low level of voice, but so strong in the meaning. You know, it's something that really we can find a connection between you and this work, right?
What we really enjoyed about that project was the it is architectural. It's like a pelotti, it's a column.
Absolutely.
But what we really love about it was that we've managed to make the base and the top join in a way in which it needs no fixings at all. It just uses this special angle.
Exactly, like
and
the
I love
aero
that.
system.
I just love that.
Yeah,
it's like the ancient art.
It's the engineering behind it that fascinates us. You know, the fact that, you know, because we worked, obviously Cappellini produced that table, and they obviously produced Mangiarotti pieces as well.
Yeah.
And so you learn, when you learn these things, it's just so enlightening, you know, so fascinating. That actually you don't need to fix this thing. Gravity is fixing things together.
But you know why I picked you about this subject? Because to me it's very important always, even with people you are in your 40s, you are both from 1969. I think it's very important to find your maestros in a way, you know. To establish that there are some people that has gone already in the direction that you have taken, and you know, it's very nice to have like a DNA where you're coming from, right?
Many. I mean, I think for us, lots of people, actually mainly artists and sculptors. Mangiarotti is a sculptor.
Definitely.
And
who else, for example, in your work, who would you say are your main inspirations?
Michael Heiser, the artist, land artist.
Yeah, Michael Heiser, definitely.
Even sort of modernist sculptors like Soloit, Anthony Caro.
I mean, there's a very strong sort of graphic. Well, we think there's a strong graphic in our graphic language in our work, and people like Frank Stella in his early work.
Just look
when he was
you.
doing the exactly, when he was doing the sort of V series and all those early pieces, which is very, very simple, strong graphic. I mean, we always. I mean, I think also when I say about the architecture early on, when you see all these objects, we almost design in our heads with plans and elevations before we turn into the sort of 3D image. You know, we can see them in our heads as drawings, like architectural drawings, and I think that's why you get this sort of strong graphic.
And we're from, you know, as you said, you pointed out very gracefully how old we are. And,
I'm 1966. I'm older than you guys.
You don't look it.
But you know, the thing is that we come from the generation before the computer, right? So Ed and I spent nights and days drawing with pens and drawing boards. And so actually, when we think in plan, side elevation, axonometric, and some way that graphic approach of drawing the line and actually making the decision to ink that line, defining it, has stayed in our heads. And so much of our work is about, as well as about space, is about silhouette.